Fantastic. So we're good to get started. So my name is Zoe Francis and welcome to Bunnik Tours webinar on Egypt and the Middle East. Please join us as we explore the wonders of Egypt, Israel and Jordan as we virtually travel back in time to visit some of the oldest civilizations. Now, as I said, we will be recording this session for those that were unable to make it today, but also please feel free to pop any questions you may have in the chat. My colleague Tom can respond throughout and we'll have some more time at the end. Now, the chat function is in the top of your screen, and also if you want to make the presentation screen bigger in lieu of me, please go to the three dots at the top right that say more, and then you can select focus on content, and that should make the presentation screen larger. So firstly, a bit about me. My name is Zoe Francis, as I said, and I am the National Sales Manager here at Bunnik Tours. I've been with Bunnik Tours for 7 years now, and I absolutely love to travel. I've been in the travel industry my entire life, and for me, a place with culture, history, impressive scenery and delicious food is a destination that's going to be really high on my travel wish list. Now, I was lucky enough to travel to Egypt with Bunnik Tours in 2017, and Egypt absolutely delivered on all of those factors. I remember being blown away by the sights and the history that the destination has to offer. So today I will be sharing with you some insights into Egypt, Jordan and Israel, as well as some of the fantastic special offers we have available at the moment. But first, for those of you that haven't heard of Bunnik or haven't travelled with us in the past, let's learn a little bit more about Bunnik Tours. So Bunnik Tours is an Australian-owned family business. We're based here in Adelaide, South Australia. So we are experts in small group touring, and we have been running tours for Australians to Egypt and the Middle East for more than 17 years. Our small group tours are designed to connect people, places and cultures, which helps to break down barriers, create lifelong memories, and best of all, it shares the benefits of tourism with everyone. We have over 25 years experience, and our aim is simple: to provide a better way for Australians to see the world. So one of the key benefits of travelling with Bunnik Tours is our small group of 20 Australian passengers. We also offer an inclusive product that is exceptional value for money, with return international flights included. But it's really the experiences that you have along the way that really make Bunnik Tours. So we have the perfect balance of included sightseeing and free time. And with COVID, we have adopted a number of safe travel protocols and booking with confidence, including flexible booking conditions and a COVID-safe travel task force based here in Adelaide to make sure that your travels run smoothly from start to finish. So that's our family there. That's Marion in the middle, Dennis on the left and Sasha on the right, and they are the three CEOs of Bunnik Tours. Now, as I mentioned, the small group size is definitely one of the key reasons that people want to travel with Bunnik. So all of our tours around the world and of course in the Middle East have a maximum group size of just 20 passengers. We use larger vehicles so that you can spread out and have a window seat and the spare seat next to you. So that makes for really comfortable travels with the best views. And being in a smaller group also allows for better interaction amongst your group. Often our travellers make lifelong friends on their Bunnik tour. And one of my favourite parts of being in a small group is getting more time with your tour guide. So our tour guides are some fantastic people. So by being in that smaller group, you'll get more one-on-one time with your guide, as well as the opportunity to ask more questions and learn more about the destination that you're travelling in. All of our tour guides are hand-selected based on their incredible passion, knowledge and experience of their region. And in Egypt, they are university qualified Egyptologists. And so they bring to life the story of the ancient Egyptians through their culture and through the hieroglyphics. And their job is purely to be your expert tour guide. So on top of that, we have extra support being the drivers and staff to take care of the rest. So then you get to have more one-on-one time. and you'll be able to spend more time learning from your guide and their own personal experiences. And that to me is one of the best parts of being in a small group tour. And of course, making friends with the people that you're traveling with. So most of our tours include the international flights from Australia and any of the internal tour flights. So flying to the Middle East with exceptional airlines such as Emirates or Qatar, you're in really good hands. Though our included airfares are definitely flexible. So you can upgrade to business, you can stop over, change the dates, allow for pre or post tour arrangements, or even fly home from other cities as part of a larger itinerary. So our travel specialists are on hand and will be able to help you plan your entire journey. So we're going to start now with Egypt. Egypt is a favourite destination of the Bunniks, so much so that amongst Dennis, Sasha and Marion, they've visited Egypt over 100 times. And there is so much on offer in Egypt, from coming face to face with the structures built over 5,000 years ago, or relaxing while cruising down the Nile and enjoying a vibrant culture and incredible cuisine. So let's take a look at what you can experience in Egypt with one of our very own experts, Dennis Bunnik. Now, I'm about to play a video for you next. It can be quite loud depending on your own personal sound settings, so I do recommend just turning them down a bit. So as you can see from Dennis's video, we do fantastic small group tours and we just sell them to Australians. So it's really comforting when you're traveling to certain destinations to have a small group of friends that you know that you're going to get along with. Now, we start in Egypt, flying into the capital of Cairo, where most of their tours are going to start their Egyptian travels. So it's located in the north of the country, and the sprawling city is the gateway to Giza, home to the famous pyramids and the Sphinx. Our touring in Egypt begins at the oldest structures in existence and one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the amazing Great Pyramids of Giza. We'll also visit the nearby Great Sphinx with the body of a lion and the head of a king. It's often referred to as the national symbol of Egypt. Our tour will also take us to a weaving workshop before visiting the ancient capital of Memphis and the Step Pyramid at Saqqara. Cairo is also home to the nation's major museums, which contain thousands of artefacts and the mummified remains of sacred animals and pharaohs, such as Ramses II and Queen Hatshepsut, and of course, Tutankhamun. A visit to the world-famous Egyptian Museum is included in your Bunnik tour, as is visits to the Citadel of Cairo and the Muhammad Ali Mosque, giving you some insight into some slightly more recent culture and history of Cairo. So visiting the mosque in Cairo was really the one key place that it was required to be covered up. So this includes covering all shoulders and also long pants or a long skirt that covers your knees. So throughout the rest of Egypt, most places are more liberal with dress requirements and you're welcome to wear singlets and shorts. But as many Egyptians are Muslim, it's still recommended to dress respectfully of other cultures. And due to the heat at most times of the year, definitely lightweight, loose, breathable clothing is certainly recommended. Though also bring some layers, because especially if you're continuing on to Jordan, you'll need some warm clothes for spending the night in the desert. And one of my personal favourite visits in Cairo was to the Khan el Khalili Bazaar. It's visited by tourists and locals alike, and these markets are the best place to get your souvenirs and bring home some fantastic memories of your Egyptian travels. So you can go shopping for different artefacts, trinkets, souvenirs, little gifts, or of course your big rugs as well. It's one of the oldest markets in the Middle East, and it dates back over 600 years. The bazaar is located in the centre of Islamic Cairo and is home to a lot of mini bazaars, traditional coffee shops and more. So many people have asked me if I felt safe while travelling to Egypt, and my answer is always yes. The country is full of incredibly warm, kind people who are genuinely so happy to see tourists. So while negotiating might be required for some market purchases, if you're not interested in buying, they will leave you alone. A lot of the sites throughout Egypt, so at the pyramids and at the key temples, you will actually see security. So it's not uncommon to have armed guards at these major sites. And also the hotels will have their own security in place. Now, this didn't make me feel uncomfortable at all. In fact, I actually appreciated that the security was in place and I felt really safe at all times. Now, I absolutely loved the food, and I really had no idea what to expect before I went to Egypt when it came to cuisine. But again, I was very pleasantly surprised with an array of options. So typical Middle Eastern food will be found throughout Egypt, Jordan and Israel, which includes legumes, rice, vegetables, flavoured by spiced sauces and stews. So meat is often chicken or lamb, with pork not being consumed. And a typical dinner in Egypt would include flatbreads with multiple dips, including hummus, baba ganoush, and also a variety of meats alongside rice, falafel and more. So as you can tell, I certainly did not go hungry in Egypt. Alcohol is also available throughout. There's no problems at all of the hotels, though there can be some restrictions on that and where you can have it just during Ramadan. So leaving Cairo now, we head south to Upper Egypt. Yes, that's right, it can be a bit confusing. So it relates to the direction of the famous Nile River. So Luxor will either be the start or the finish of your Nile cruise, depending on which itinerary you choose. Home to some impressive sites, including Karnak Temple and Luxor Temple, which are both connected by a 2.7 kilometre long Avenue of the Sphinxes. We include the internal flights on the tour, so flying from Cairo to either Aswan or Luxor, depending on your tour of choice. And that is certainly much preferred over spending the night on the overnight train. Luxor Temple is also home to a 25-metre tall pink granite obelisk, which was part of a matching pair until the 1830s, when one was given to France, where it still stands in Paris today. And in Luxor on our Discovery tour, you'll also take a half-day tour to Dendera Temple, and you get to see one of the best preserved temple complexes of ancient Egypt. It's the Temple of Hathor, who is the goddess of pleasure and love. So after a day touring the temples and surrounding Luxor, it's nice to be able to return to the hotel for a relaxing swim. And here we are overlooking the Nile River. What a spot. So all of the hotels used on the Bunnik Tours program throughout Egypt are of an exceptional standard. So they are rated 4 to 5 stars. And again, I was really surprised and pleasantly surprised at how fantastic they were. So from spectacular views to delicious meals to spacious, comfortable rooms, the quality of properties that we use in Egypt was a real delight, and they are certainly of that premium standard. Though a highlight for me while I was in Luxor was the opportunity to take a hot air balloon ride, soaring above the Nile River's west bank. Whilst it's not for everyone, I thoroughly enjoyed this optional activity. The views were sensational and actually found the experience quite peaceful as you're floating above. We had toured this area the day before, so for me it was really fantastic to be looking down on some of the temples and sites that I'd already explored and now get a different view from the above and get a different perspective. So this is one of a few optional tours that you could take while touring in Egypt. So we believe that we really want to limit optional activities because we believe if you should see it, then it should be included. So all of the key sites are already included. It's more just things that don't particularly suit everyone's taste that would be left out as an optional. So for example, hot air ballooning or potentially sound and light shows. The full details and the prices of any optionals are on the website itinerary as well. Now, boarding the Nile cruise was certainly something I had looked forward to for many years. The 3 or 4 night cruise only travels a relatively short distance, but that allows plenty of time to relax on board. You get to soak up the atmosphere, have a G&T while floating down the Nile, and of course, while also visiting the key sites along the way. So the Valley of the Kings, the Temple of Horus in Edfu, and so much more. And for those on the Discovery Tour, again, a felucca ride is also taken on the Discovery Tour. And you get to visit a local Nubian village, which is a really fantastic experience, and have lunch and get that personal interaction with the locals. The felucca ride is certainly something to enjoy, but I can assure you it's not where you'd want to spend the night. So you'll much rather come back to your luxury cruise for your 3 or 4 night stay. So touring the Valley of the Kings was a highlight with a visit to a number of sacred tombs, including the famous Tutankhamun's, one of the best preserved tombs that was untouched until discovered by archaeologists. And this is because his tomb was hidden beneath another, so it went unnoticed by thieves that were raiding the artefacts. You'll see some of the artefacts found in this tomb on display at the Egyptian Museum. And also in the Valley of the Kings is the Temple of Queen Hatshepsut. She's one of very few female pharaohs, and her temple pictured here is an absolute masterpiece of ancient architecture. The entry into Tutankhamun's tomb is included in your Bunnik tour as well. So while the pyramids of Giza might be the best known Egyptian site and probably what draws a lot of people to want to travel to Egypt in the first place, to me, Abu Simbel is the most impressive. That really blew me away. So it's set close to the Egyptian border with Sudan on the western bank of Lake Nasser. Now, from Aswan, we travel here by road. We leave early so that you can get down and do your touring before the heat gets too hot, as it is getting very close to that southern border. That sandstone structure, though, is more than 5 stories high. But what I found so interesting and so impressive is that this was originally constructed during the 13th century BC. And then the temples had to be relocated in its entirety in 1968 to avoid being submerged by the building of the Aswan High Dam. So UNESCO was involved in this project, and when you're there, you cannot tell at all. So they broke it down into thousands of little pieces, moved it up the hill, put it all back together, and you would not know. The temples were originally built by Ramses II to intimidate his enemies and seat himself amongst the gods. So that is just some of the incredible sights that you can see in Egypt that can be experienced on our 16-day Egyptian Discovery Tour. So this tour now has savings of up to $800 per person to travel this year. And so there's no better time to visit Egypt. This tour is now $7,295, including return flights from Australia. So again, we've got those flights included, all the taxes, those internal flights, all your sightseeing and special experiences, accommodation, transport, those expert guides, many meals, and even tipping and more. So this tour is an in-depth exploration of Egypt. So it includes 4 nights on the Nile cruise, as well as 2 nights in Luxor. This tour also goes out north and stays at the Mediterranean port city of Alexandria. So by travelling and staying out in Alexandria, this allows us to visit the sentimental El Alamein and its Commonwealth War Memorial. So it's a sombering yet really special moment for our Australian travellers. I know that there are a number of people who would have relatives that might have fought there or potentially be buried there. So we can actually get that information ahead of time and locate any specific graves that you might want to find. So it's just a really special moment for our Australian travellers. So with more time and more inclusions, the Egyptian Discovery is the perfect tour for those that want to delve into Egypt's rich history, culture, and incredible sights. Though for those that are a bit short on time, there's still the highlights of Egypt tour. So this still ticks off all those bucket lists and more over the 12-day tour. And it's on sale now for $6,395. Now this includes a saving of up to $800 per person. And of course, it also includes your return flights and all those inclusions from Australia. So this 12-day tour includes stays in Cairo, Luxor and Aswan, but you can see that it's now the 3-night Nile cruise, so slightly shorter there. It also is only 1 night in Luxor, and it no longer includes that time out to Alexandria and El Alamein, but still a fantastic tour to tick those highlights. With all of the tours with the flights included, that does mean that we have accounted for that time. So the 12 days, day 1 you leave Australia, day 12 you return to Australia. Now for those wanting to explore a little bit beyond Egypt and into Jordan, it's right next door, so why not? Jordan has so many of its own key sites, including the incredible lost city of Petra and the Roman ruins of Jerash, the beaches of the Dead Sea. Jordan's land might be ancient, but its cities are quite modern, providing really comfortable amenities for travellers. So whilst relatively unknown compared to some of the more popular sites, Jerash is one of the most beautifully preserved Roman cities in the world. Covered in sand until its excavation started in 1925, which is still continuing today. Here you can explore the colonnaded streets, the amphitheatre, churches, temples, and the large Roman Forum. Though probably the most well-known site in all of Jordan is the lost city of Petra. So carved into the rock more than 2,000 years ago, surrounded by mountains and riddled with passages and gorges, its setting is almost as stunning as the site itself. So it was once capital of the Nabatean kingdom, and the pink sandstone cliffs earned its reputation as the Pink City. And within the complex, the most popular site is the Treasury, pictured here. And some of these sites are accessed by a narrow gorge known as Al Seek. Familiar to those that have seen the Indiana Jones movie filmed here. It is quite a walking day at Petra, so certainly good mobility and also comfortable walking shoes are important. Though the build-up of what is waiting for you at the end of the Seek only makes the sights even more impressive. The other key site within Petra is the incredible monastery. So it can take about 45 minutes to walk up here to get the views from above, but it's certainly worth it. And after the temples, the tombs and a good amount of walking, it's a nice touch to stay at the Dead Sea. Known as the lowest point on Earth, it's Salt Lake where you can bathe and naturally float to the surface due to its high salt content. And you can also cover your body in its therapeutic mud, which is said to have amazing health benefits for your skin. Though for me, one of the highlights that I really want to see is Wadi Rum, a protected desert wilderness in southern Jordan. It's one of the best desertscapes in the world, and this is best explored via four-wheel drive. You'll be transported to another world while four-wheel driving around the natural rock bridges, the towering sand dunes and the vast peaks. Though also in Wadi Rum, you'll get to spend the night in a Bedouin-style desert camp, complete with your own private facilities, of course. And spending the night here, you'll get to witness the amazing night sky full of vibrant stars. Wadi Rum is another base for famous movies over the year, with its perfect location, its large unpopulated landscape, also known as the Valley of the Moon. Now, certain tours will have the chance to have a special experience of a barbecue lunch in the middle of the desert. So you could feel like you're dining on the moon. So with Jordan being so close to Egypt, it just makes sense to combine the two. So the Egypt and Jordan Discovery small group Bunnik Tours contains that same Egyptian Discovery tour with the addition of Jordan at the start. And that's on sale now from $10,995 per person, with a fantastic $800 saving for travel in 2022. And again, that includes your flights return from Australia and all those fantastic inclusions. So this is another in-depth exploration of the two countries, including more time in both. So in Jordan, this includes a stay at Dana and a special experience at its UNESCO-listed Biosphere Reserve, where you walk the village trail. And also included on the Discovery Tour is a stay at Aqaba and its famous Red Sea. Being the only coastal city in Jordan, a stay here is picturesque. And of course, that exclusive barbecue lunch in the heart of the Wadi Rum Desert will be an experience to remember. But for those shorter on time, we still have that Highlights of Egypt and now Jordan tour. So this 19-day tour ticks off the highlights of both countries over 2.5 weeks. Dates are available now, and from $9,995 per person, includes the highlights of Wadi Rum, Petra, Jerash, the Dead Sea and more. So our final country to explore today is Israel, one of the world's oldest travel destinations. It's a small and diverse country, and it's spiritually sacred for the major religions of Christianity, Judaism and Islam. So it has a long coastline on the Mediterranean Sea and is undeniably beautiful, with alternating scenes of sea, desert, ancient towns and stunning nature reserves. So we cross the border into Israel from Jordan, and we start our tours in one of the oldest cities in the world and Israel's largest and capital, Jerusalem. The old city is home to the tomb of King David, the room of the Last Supper on Mount Zion, and more historical sites which we'll explore. But possibly the most famous of them all is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre within the Christian Quarter. It's known as the site of the crucifixion, burial and resurrection of Jesus, and is also widely accepted as the site of his tomb. Also in Jerusalem, Bunnik guests get to meet with a local family for a very special experience, joining them for a traditional Shabbat dinner, the Jewish celebration occurring weekly on Friday nights at sundown. So cuisine in Israel is similar to what you will find in Egypt and Jordan, including shawarma, shakshuka, and of course, hummus, with over 1 million pounds of hummus being consumed in Israel every year. A memorable site also in Jerusalem is the Western or Wailing Wall. It's considered the holiest place in Israel, where Jews are permitted to pray due to its connection to the Temple Mount. And the Western Wall is a moving site where thousands of people journey to every year to recite prayers that are either spoken or placed in the cracks of the wall. And there's a short drive and you'll arrive at Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. So we spend the afternoon here imagining the stories from the Bible as they come to life at sites such as the Church of the Nativity and Rachel's tomb. Though outside of Jerusalem is where we get to explore the beauty and more modern culture of Israel. In Galilee, you'll visit Israel's third largest winery for a vineyard tour and wine tasting, of course, of the sacred drink. And in Haifa, a trip to the summit of Mount Carmel provides stunning views over the region below. The UNESCO-listed mountain range stretches across the Mediterranean Sea, and you have breathtaking views over Haifa Bay and Western Galilee. So the Egypt, Israel and Jordan Bunnik Group Tour is a great way to see all three countries in one impressive trip. And this tour is on sale now for 2022 with a massive saving of up to $900 per person and guaranteed departures to choose from. So again, we start in Jordan before crossing into Israel for 6 nights, before flying on to Egypt in Cairo and continuing your tour of Egypt. This follows that highlights tour, and from $13,995 it includes again your flights from Australia, all the internal flights, all the sightseeing, special experiences and more. So the 2022 Middle East sale is available now until 29 July for travel in 2022. Though with our small groups, spaces are limited, so don't wait. All of our dates and prices and availability can be found on our website, bunniktours.com.au. And we also have a number of blogs and videos and more information to hopefully inspire you to travel in 2022. So you can book your Bunnik tour by either calling our office, and the number is there, or you can book through your preferred travel agent. So I do hope that I've inspired you to potentially travel to the Middle East with Bunnik on a small group tour, or we look forward to welcoming you anywhere in the world on Bunnik soon. Now we'll just pop into the chat to see if there are any questions. And again, for those that either joined late or missed out, we will be recording this and we'll send that out, so you'll be able to catch up. Fantastic. So if there's no further questions, thank you. Please feel free to give us a call anytime if you do have any questions afterwards, or get us online and send us a message through chat or an email as well. So all of our contact details are on our website. But thank you very much for joining us today, and I do hope you learned something new. Just had a last minute question at the moment. So as I mentioned at the start, we do have a COVID safe travel task force. Dennis, Marion and Sasha have all been in Egypt already this year. So we have got a lot of personal experience in the destination, as well as fantastic staff on the ground. But certainly with COVID, we do have those safe travel protocols and flexible booking conditions in place as well. So all the details are available on our website. And certainly if there's any further questions, do give us a call. Gluten-free can be requested through all of the destinations, and generally gluten-free is not a hard one for us to cater to. So certainly with the number of meats, vegetables and other options, there's so much variety in the food that's on offer. I travelled with somebody that was gluten and lactose free, and they had no trouble with all of the food. So there's certainly plenty of options. And all of the hotels that we are using are really used to international guests and have been dealing with lots of different dietary requirements for a number of years now. So you certainly just let us know at the time of booking, but it's definitely not a problem at all. Great. Thanks very much for joining me again today, and hope to see you soon.